Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's ELA lesson. We are going to start off our lesson with a short icebreaker. Our icebreaker today is tell us one thing you know about Mexico. So while you think about that, I'll explain that if this were live, I'd have students raise their little Zoom hand or type in their answer on the Zoom chat. Because I'm here by myself, I will answer it with just one thing because I know a lot about Mexico. My sentence will be tacos originated from Mexico. So for extra credit, what's the subject and predicate of your sentence? In my sentence, tacos originated from Mexico. Tacos is my subject and originated from Mexico is my predicate. I'm bringing that up today because our objective today is to correctly answer commas after prepositional phrases. And for that, we needed a little review on subject and predicates. So let's continue. We're going to do our grammar review today of prepositional phrases because it's important to keep up with the grammar rules. And if we want to be following those rules when we write, it's good to review the rules every once in a while. So no matter what grade you're in or how old you are, let's practice a little more on prepositional phrases. So what's a preposition? A preposition shows the relationship between its object and another word in a sentence. Hopefully you remembered that. And here are some prepositions right here in the boxes. So we have time ones, we have place and position ones. Those are probably the most popular ones. Directions and other prepositions. And I wish I could say this was it, but there's a lot more to them. So when we talk about prepositional phrases, it's a group of words that begin with one of these prepositions. So we have some examples here of over the river, through the woods. So if you look up, you'll find that they're here, through right here, through the woods, to grandmother's house. And you'll also notice these are not complete sentences. Okay, so that's where our subject and predicate from our icebreaker comes in. Over the river has no subject, right? It could be part of the predicate, but over the river is not really giving us a complete thought. And so preposition phrases, that's one of the key ways to find them. It's those two things. They're not a complete sentence and they start with the preposition. So when we've talked about prepositional phrases, when you find them, what do you do with them in your sentence? So we are going to continue and take a look at that. So the first thing is you put a comma after long phrases. By long phrases, I mean 5 words or more. Okay, so most of the ones, let's go back. The ones I have here are a little short. Over the river is 3, but we also have until the break of dawn, that's 5. So if we saw until the break of dawn in a sentence, we would want to separate it out or kind of indicate that it's there by putting commas either around it if it's in the middle of the sentence or after it if it's at the beginning. So today we're only going to be focusing on introductory prepositional phrases. So those are the ones at the beginning. So we have an example here. From the back of the auditorium, we could not hear him. And so we have our preposition from, and we have our phrase from the back of the auditorium. That's kind of answering the where, but it is not a complete sentence. We have our complete sentence here at the end. We could not hear him. That is our subject, we, and our predicate could not hear him. And we're adding information, we're adding flavor with our prepositional phrase here from the back of the auditorium. The second thing you need to know about prepositional phrases is that you can also use them to, you use commas to separate multiple phrases. So here we have one with 2 prepositional phrases at the beginning. So our sentence reads, at night, in the darkness, the ninja waited. So at night answers when? At night. Where is answered with in the darkness. And notice we have 2 prepositions there. We have at and we have in. And of course, we have our complete sentence here at the end, the ninja waited. So at night in the darkness, the ninja waited. So even though those are short, because there's two phrases, you're also going to be using commas for that. You do not want to put a comma after a short phrase. So going back to the one from before, if we could take out that second phrase in the darkness, then at night, the ninja waited, we would not need a comma for that. Okay? You only need it unless you absolutely need it, like need it for clarity. So we have our example, and I crossed out because this is not what we're doing. In 1916, comma, the state of the world shifted. We do not need that comma there. Our sentence would read just as well without that comma. Let me show you just by reading it. In 1960, the state of the world shifted. There was no pause, much like I was pausing before. So because we don't need that pause and our phrase is short, we do not need that comma. Now we are going to put all this information into practice. If I had a live audience, I would be picking students to answer these questions, but we'll be working on this together, and you can just follow along as I read. I'll be showing you my thinking as I give out the answers. So our quest here is to decide whether we need a comma or not. So our number one sentence says, under the pile of clothes, we found his wallet. So I have a preposition under the pile of clothes, we found his wallet. I kind of want to pause right there. And I also noticed this is a complete sentence. We found his wallet. So I definitely need a comma there. I'm also going to make sure I have 5 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is needing a comma. So we're going to add that comma right there. Moving on to number 2. After dark, the vampires come out. So I'm going to check for a preposition, after. I'm going to try to find my phrase. After dark, the vampires come out. So my phrase would be after dark, because the vampires come out is my complete sentence. But I'm going to count my words in the phrase. After 1, dark 2. I do not have enough words. That means I do not need a comma for number 2. It reads just as well the way it is. After dark, the vampires come out. We're moving on to number 3. We have during the hot summer of 1984, the temperatures set records. So here we have during our preposition. That's a time preposition. During the hot summer of 1984, that whole thing is a phrase. During the hot summer of 1984, I'm going to check, do I have a sentence at the end? A complete sentence. The temperatures set records. Yes, I have a subject, the temperature, and a preposition. A predicate, set records. So I definitely need a comma. And I'm going to double check if I have 5 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have more than enough words. I'm going to add my comma. There we go. And that right there was prepositions. But one last thing, okay? Try not to end a sentence with a preposition. Okay, I'm going to give you an example that we use a lot when we ask questions. We'll say things like, where are you at? We're ending. That at is a preposition. Where are you at? The proper, correct way to ask that question is, where are you? Where are you gives us the detailed question. It's a complete question. So if you're thinking, why do I not use a preposition there? Then I'm going to ask you to think, what was the purpose of a preposition? And if you remember, the purpose of a preposition is to signal out the relationship between an object and the words. So when you use it at the end of a sentence, it doesn't give you any more words to link it to. Okay, so we just try not to end a sentence with a preposition. I see a lot of sentences ending with the word with. You don't want to use that at the end. Try to use your words around. We can maybe have a different lesson for that another time as to how to avoid that preposition at the end. But that was definitely one thing I wanted to add about prepositional phrases. So that is the end of our lesson. I hope you have uh, a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. And if you can call me or text me if you have any questions, there will be homework on our classroom. And there you go. If you have any questions, please ask. You have my contact information. I hope this was a good review for prepositional phrases for you. And if you had trouble finding those, then shoot me an email and I can give you more practice so that you can get better and your writing can improve. Have a good week. Have a good one. Goodbye.